All right, it is getting ready to, it's loading up to go live. So I am Jim Heisler. I'm the CEO here at the Heartland Realtor Organization. Thank you very much for coming and joining us. We are going Facebook Live right now, so it's coming up and getting going. And tonight we're going to be talking about selling a home, and we've got a couple of presenters with us. You can see on the screen here, Dana Rasho is going to give us a little presentation. Lisa Godzicki is with us. They're both real estate agents with Remax Plaza and McHenry. I'm here, of course. Judy Polinsky, the wonderful owner, designer, stager from Fresh Look Interiors Home Staging and Redesign. And John Frasick, owner, inspector of World Inspection Network. So they're going to cover their sections a little bit. I'm also going to cover a quick couple of minutes on photography as well. Our photographer is too busy right now. She was signed up and just had to cancel on me, which I fully understand and appreciate. Business first. So I will cover a couple things on photography that she gave to me, although I put them in my slides. So with that, I'm going to jump in and do a quick analysis update on the outlook. There we go. Me. All right. So this session is about selling. We did buyers last night. If you want to see that session, it is on Heartland Realtor Organization's Facebook page. You can go there and look at it. And then we are also recording this one as well. So why is it different this time? So what happened last time, 10, 12 years ago, was different this time. And here's what shows where it shows you that. So what happened in the previous recession, Great Recession, the green line, which is the home median sale price, outgrew the buying power of the public. The public couldn't afford the houses. The prices accumulated, appreciated too much, and it outgrew the buying power. That is not true now. The buying power is higher and the average sales price is lower. So that's a good sign for sellers. That's my first step. Second thing I want to say about this slide is unemployment. So of course, unemployment is very high right now, but the good news, this slide comes from the National Association of Realtors, is that most of this is in leisure and hospitality industry. So the thought is that once the country starts to open back up, once the state starts to open back up, that these people will become re-employed. And right now with the $600 stimulus program through the payrolls, that is actually keeping people from rejoining the in the employment industry. Sorry, my doorbell's going off, just distracting. So when they get back into the marketplace and they start getting their jobs back, then that will reinvigorate the marketplace and those people should be able to get their jobs back pretty quickly. The other thing that Lawrence Yun, the chief economist, said is that no inflation, so no worries for now. So this is a graph of inflation. What happened? Inflation grew very high, 2007, 2008, and then it dropped big time in 2009. That was really a big part of the recession. We've had somewhat steady, yes, it's bouncing a little bit, but somewhat steady inflation, and that's been a positive thing and probably positive going forward. Inventory, so how many homes are on the market? Low pre-pandemic and lower during the pandemic. So pre-pandemic, 400 million, I think this is not supposed to be dollars, it's supposed to be number of homes that were sold. And then it slowly trickled down. We normally sell around $5 million homes per year, and that number had declined. So there is some pent-up demand, has been his conversation. Mortgage rates, we had Nicole on last night. She's a lender who talked about mortgage rates, very low. Look at this statistic. So obviously 1980s, anybody in the real estate industry knows that story. They were outstandingly high interest rates and still people were saying, I have to go get a mortgage because they're afraid they're gonna go even higher. So they are very low right now, around 3.5%, outstandingly low, a great time for people to buy homes, which is good for sellers. I'm gonna skip this one. No, I'm gonna hit the bottom too. So permanent changes after the pandemic, moving out. So we believe that more remote working will be true in the future. We've gotten used to it. Employers have gotten used to remote working and how to deal and manage employees that are working remotely. So we believe strongly that that will continue in the future. It's cheaper in a lot of ways for employers to have remote staff. So because of that, we're going to have less traffic near city centers. We're going to have more people moving further out, which is good for McHenry County. We've got a train to get to Chicago if we need it, and then larger homes as well. So that's good for the economy and that's good for sellers. Mortgage rates. So he believes very strongly that we're going to stay pretty solid where we are with the economy where it is, roughly speaking, for the next couple of years, but it will start to grow. And as we reach toward 2025 and even to 2030, Lawrence Yun's opinion is that mortgage rates will be climbing. These are not high rates, 6 to 9% are not high, but considering where we've been, that sounds outrageous considering it's almost double where we are now. So that can be a driving factor for people to be getting mortgages and to be buying homes as well. Again, good for sellers. Here are some McHenry County stats. So these are for April. I don't like to use even this one because it's too broad. When you are looking to sell your home, you need to call a real estate agent, have them come out and talk to you about what your home is worth, because even looking at these stats is too broad. No one lives in McHenry County. You live in Crystal Lake, or you live in a certain subdivision, or you live on a certain street. You need to narrow that down to know what your market analysis, what that real estate agent thinks your home is worth, specifically in your neighborhood and on your street. So even these stats are too broad based to really truly use, but I use them more as a trend line to know where we stand overall. And the two that I'd look at is the percent of original list price received. This is one of my two favorite stats. I believe that 96% is the balance point. It's a balanced market between the sellers and the buyers. So we are 96.1. So we're just slightly tilted towards seller market, meaning if you put your home on the market for $100,000, you're likely to get $96,100. That's the average right now. That's showing slightly above into a seller's range. But the one that shows even more that this is a seller's market is down here, the month supply of inventory. How many homes are available? And basically what that's saying is, if homes keep coming on the market at the rate they're coming on, and we keep selling them at the rate we're selling them, we will run out of inventory in 2.9 months. And while we will never actually run out of inventory, this is also known as the absorption rate. This is a factor, a trend line. The National Association of Realtors believes that 6 months is a balanced market. I would tell you that in my 25 years of doing real estate and working in McHenry County in this Northern Illinois region, 4 months supply is a balanced market for Northern Illinois, especially McHenry County. So at 2.9, we are low on inventory, and this has become a seller's market. That said, this is a diverse market, meaning we really are bifurcated. We have an upper end market, I would guess around $250,000. Really, it's more about the tax dollars. If you're paying $10,000 or more in taxes, that's kind of where the break comes in. That upper level market has been hurting a little bit. The lower end market has been moving very, very well, and that's where we need a lot of inventory. So if you have a home and you're looking to sell and you're in the lower price ranges, again, around 250 or below, you're in a very good position and likely to do well. But you need to talk to your real estate agent. I want to show you this real quick. I think this is an important one. We did not get to this last night, and I'm already running out of time, but we're going to run through two of these really quick. You need to see this one. Over here, number 8, I think. So this is the showing activity, and we use a system called Showing Time here in Northern Illinois. So this is the showing activity. 2019 is the blue line of showing activity going on. We had a little dip here last year. Here's what happened this year, the orange line. And of course, we know what happened here. This is all COVID hitting, right? So the number of showings that took place in the marketplace dropped like a rock. We all understand why that happened. It stayed low for a couple of weeks, and now look where we're at. It's rebounding quickly. Yes, we have a little downturn. I would argue that was warm weather when we hit 80 degrees and Memorial Day weekend. I think those are two major factors that hit this curve, and you'll see that happened last year too. So I expect we're going to see this line keep going upward. I don't think it's going to skyrocket, but we're going to continue with the strong market. I think all real estate agents have felt this is a strong market. So I project good things in the next few months. And I think it's going to be a decent to strong market for sellers. Bottom line, mortgage rates are low, buyer demand is up, new construction is coming, which helps, and new home showings are up. So that's my quick 7 minutes. That was probably longer than that. With that, I'm going to jump off, and we're going to jump to Dana's video. So Dana Rasho, she is a real estate agent with Remax Plaza in McHenry. And she's got a video here. Can you guys see this? We're going to go live here if I find the pause button. And, okay.
Good evening, Dana Rasho with Remax Plaza here to talk to you guys about listing your home. Thank you, Jim, for having me. And I'm pre-recording my presentation because I'm unable to attend live. So bear with me as I share my screen, and then we can begin. So the spring and summer market is heating up. Buyers will be looking to get out and see what new homes are available. If you're thinking of listing your home, a little planning will help you have a very good opportunity for a successful closing. I want to offer some practical tips for anyone getting ready to list this year. First, let's take a look at how the general process works. Working with a licensed realtor has many benefits. Selling your home is a big transaction, and working with a realtor means you're hiring a professional. Tonight, I want to go over a few key areas that can help you, the seller, prepare for the process. On a first meeting, whether it's digital or in person, a realtor is going to want to get a better understanding of your unique situation and determine the reasons you're listing your home. These are examples of questions that a realtor will ask to help them create a customized marketing plan. Your realtor will want to make sure that you inform him or her of the dates, major updates such as roofing, windows, HVAC, and a kitchen and bath remodel. Your realtor will also make recommendations in areas that may need improvement or potentially even bring in a stager to help with this aspect. A realtor needs to understand the seller's motivation and timeline. Identifying challenges upfront will allow the realtor to use their network of professionals to assist in overcoming these challenges early on to save time. Some examples of these professionals are a qualified contractor, stager, and real estate photographer. Realtors are used to coordinating with a team of professionals to help the seller accomplish their timeline goals. This is a timeline of working with an agent through the listing process. Within each step, a realtor will be able to offer guidance to help you navigate the steps successfully. Each step needs to be successfully accomplished to create a smooth closing. Establishing a price, preparing your home are very important to address properly and set the proper foundation. The agent's going to help their clients change their perspective on their home, which will allow the sellers to envision the goals of their new home or next phase that they are moving on to. Part of preparing your home to sell is depersonalizing it and packing up unnecessary items, potentially moving furniture around or rearranging things to show your house's highlights, even potentially bringing in materials for the purpose of staging. Once a price is determined, the agent can begin the process to market the home and sell. The key factor in the timeline of the selling process is selecting the right price and then creating a marketing plan. In my personal opinion, beautiful professional pictures are the foundation for great marketing materials, both online and in print, and a necessity. Most buyers begin their search for a new home online, so it's imperative that the seller's house has sufficient exposure online. Once your house is listed on the MLS, you will begin to receive requests to see your newly listed property. Prior to this, your realtor will create a plan with you to determine how to handle the showing requests. Unless your house is vacant, then the seller will most likely require an appointment. You may have pets that need to be secured or need time to prepare the house for the showing. After each showing, your realtor will request feedback on how the showing went and share it with you, the seller. It is always helpful to get some outside input. Once a buyer has been found, they may have a home inspection and will need to do an appraisal. And the final step is closing. If you are considering listing your home and have additional questions, reach out to your local realtor and start the process to get your home listed. Thank you so much for your time and have a great night. And thank you again for allowing me this time to speak with you. And good luck on listing and selling your home.
All right. Thank you, Dana. Oops, we're not gonna go there yet, but we're gonna come back to that. So we'll leave that up. So Lisa, did you want to add anything to that right away? You want to come back for questions? You're muted. There you go.
I am unmuted now. No, Dana hit all the main points. It is imperative, though. I have had sellers question me why we're questioning them as to their situation, but it's extremely important to know because, as soon as you list your house, you might get an offer fast. Maybe a seller isn't anticipating it or doesn't fall within their timeline. So it's like peeling, I had an old managing broker tell me once, you have to peel back like an onion, the layers, and figure it out. We're asking questions just to make it the smoothest transaction for you, the seller.
Great. We're going to come back to you. I'm going to ask some questions after we get through their presentations, but thank you. And then John, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I'm all good to go.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm good.
You are.
All right. Hi, I'm John with Wynn Home Inspection. I'm a home inspector for 16 years in the area. We perform radon testing as well. You're listing your house with a realtor now. Once you have this sold, basically the next step would be a home inspection. That could entail radon testing. That entails somebody like me wanting to get to your attic, get to your electric panel. We're going to go through your home, test your GFI outlets. In some cases, those GFI outlets may be sensitive after testing and may re-trip after. It's a common thing. They just do. It's just part of what they are. We're going to be basically walking around the exterior of your house, on your roof, getting into your attic space or crawl spaces. Our job is to document your house. With that being said, it wouldn't be a horrible idea to peek your head in the attic before this process, or have somebody come and do it for you. Have an inspector come and give you a little pre-inspection, go over maybe some of just the major bullet points before you have a seller that runs into a larger issue that may spook them off. In that realm, knowing what's in your attic, what's in your crawl space, and what's in your own house is a good idea. Those areas a lot of times aren't looked at for years and years as the cobwebs we peel back. Those areas are usually the sensitive areas of a home. So when you're listing a house, yes, the paint on the outside, the paint in the kitchen are gorgeous. But on older homes, the attics and crawl spaces usually are where the inspections begin and end, in some cases. Those are the sensitive areas of the home. And many times they're not addressed for the lifetime of the home until somebody like me goes into them. So it's a good idea to possibly have somebody take a peek at here, just so you don't have large surprises that slows down your transaction or your move. In the last transaction we've had, I did 4 separate inspections for the entire string of this. So everybody that was selling hired me, and that was buying hired me, and it was a very long string. And that was a scary thing. I've never been involved in such a long transaction where everybody's looking at me going, okay, John. So it's imperative that you know what's in your house before you list.
John, let me ask you a question. I'm going to interrupt. So when you're going to do this, can you explain to these sellers what you're going to be doing? Because obviously the buyer is the one hiring you. So what are you going to check in their home? Where are you going to be? What are you going to do? What should the seller expect you're going to do in their house?
We are going to, and unfortunately, it seems like we're taking your house over, but in a sense, we do. We come with ladders. We come with a bag of gear. It almost seems like we're moving in. We're going to check your entire house, your ceiling fans, your windows, your outlets, your doors and drawers. We're not necessarily looking at items. We don't have time to look at your items. We are looking at functionality, and we're there to document your house to the best of our ability. So yeah, that is basically our main goal, is to look over the house. And we're going to crawl, you know, if you have a closet full of belongings and your attic is right there, either one of two things: we're going to have to move it all out and most likely not get it back the correct way, or we're going to have to come back at a later date once you remove all the material, and that will slow down your transaction as well.
So you say document the house. How are you going to document it?
Well, we're going to take digital pictures. We're going to have people, you know, we're going to use some certain test equipment, infrared cameras in some cases. You know, we're going to use basically all the tools, moisture meters and that type of thing, on the house to determine how the house is at the time.
So you're coming in to pick their house apart.
In short, yes.
I
Yes.
was looking for no, but that's okay.
Well, you know, it's hard to say no.
That's true.
It's hard to say no to that. But on the other hand, when that seller is, I've had many of sellers hire me, and the only reason they hired me is they said, you were such a pain in my rear side on that side, I figured I'd have you on the other side. You know, the knife always cuts both ways.
And so Lisa, on that, I want to jump to you. So Lisa, as a buyer's agent, do you like to be with your clients at the inspection? Then John, I'm going to ask you how you feel about having the buyer's agent there.
Well, I've only missed a couple of home inspections in my career for illness or attending a family member's funeral. I've probably missed maybe 3 in the last 15 years. I love being there. John does not feel the same way with me being there. Maybe other realtors, not me, but that's okay. No, we want to know, because that could sway the whole transaction. What I'm finding now with the way the market is moving right now is people are willing to resolve the home inspection issues. It's going pretty quick, but yeah, no, it would be a smart thing if someone has not peeked in their attic in years to definitely check it out. You would be surprised.
So I guess that's what I was looking for, was it's wise for the buyer's agent and the buyer to follow the home inspector with. And John, would you agree with that? You like to have a client there?
Yeah. You know, our job is to go through the house. The agents are important to have for a multitude of reasons. That is a whole, that could take up this entire topic. But as through the home inspection process, the agent must be there to explain. And in some cases, they know the client much better than us. We're spending an hour and a half to 2.5 hours with that client. In some cases, this agent has spent months with this client looking for homes. They know that client much better than I am there for a snapshot. And you know, in some cases, that snapshot doesn't look well to a client. That's what the agent's there for, is to buffer that, if you will.
Very good.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we come back to you after questions? You good? So you're taking the house apart. Judy gets to put them back together. So my favorite home stager, interior designer, Judy, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, and go ahead. You're muted. I can unmute you if you need.
Okay, there we go. So sorry. Thank you, Jim.
Yep.
Thank you for inviting me. I help sellers make their home look like all those TV shows that you see, and present to the buyer in the best possible light. So basically, I actually go in and sometimes I'm sure it feels to them, I pick their home apart as well. But I tell them everything. This is what I tell people, is tell them everything that needs to be done to their space, everything that a buyer will have issue with. So that means, and I tell them, it means that they might not agree with me. They might not, it might not be in their budget to fix, or it might not be in their time frame, but that's okay. If we go through room by room and we discuss everything. And at least by the time we're done, they have a good idea of how their home's going to present once it gets in the agent's hands and once it's going to be put up. So once buyers start coming through, if there is feedback, negative feedback as to things, they don't like the flow or they don't like the paint color or things like that, we've already discussed those things. So it's not a surprise to the homeowner, and we've already discussed those things. So that's my big spiel.
So why is
Okay.
staging important? Why should a seller have a stager come in and stage the home?
Because everybody wants to move into that picture perfect HD TV home these days. And I believe every home has that potential. It doesn't matter if it's a 2-year-old home, a brand new home, a 30-year-old home, a home that was built, the staging I did today, I believe was built in 1921. Beautiful. It was beautiful, but the furniture was ill-placed. It has not been updated in years. And quite honestly, it had to be, it really needed to be cleaned. So very easy things to do. It's just to give that flow. How do I use my space? Putting your big TV with a entertainment center right in front of the front window by the beautiful front porch wasn't the best place. And I'm not making that up. That is where they had it, not taking anything away from, the owners, but that's where it worked for them. So it's really helping people understand the best potential use of their space and how to make it look like one of those homes on TV. Doesn't necessarily take a lot of money, just takes a little ingenuity, sometimes a little elbow grease, and sometimes a little, just a little time to get to that spot.
So can you talk about fees? What do you charge? I mean, ballpark, what is that? Is that massive expense? You bring in tons of furniture?
It really depends, but all my clients start with a staging consultation, and that is a $225. And basically it's room by room. We go through and we discuss, like I said, everything that it could potentially be an issue. And if a buyer or a seller has an issue with that, let's say they don't want to take down the wallpaper in the room. I just had this issue. That's okay. We discuss what else can we do to enhance the rest of the room, so maybe it doesn't make it quite as dark, really. And I'm going to show you a slide where there is still wallpaper in there. Pretty much most of it was we had to open the blinds because I really did like the wallpaper. So I play let's make a deal with clients. Maybe they don't want to budge on one thing, but if they meet me halfway on something else, we can get to the point where we need it to show correctly. And that's on the outside too. Curb appeal, everybody knows curb appeal is huge. The space has to be utilized inside and out to its best potential. So
Did you want to show us those slides?
I do, if I can. Thank you.
Let's see how that works.
Yeah, let's see if it works this time. Let me know if
Yep,
it's
it's up.
is it working? Okay. Let me go to, so this one obviously shows you curb appeal. You can't ignore the outside.
Judy, do you want to start the slideshow?
Oh, does it not? Okay. I do. There you go.
Perfect.
There we go. So this shows from the outside. This is currently a house that's on the market. And obviously bushes are trimmed, remulched, grass is cut, everything is neat. That's what you want. You want that curb appeal, even though people look at pictures first. And I know you're gonna talk about that. That's huge. This is why. They look at this first, but when they pull up, they want to see that this is what it looks like in person as well. This is a good example of on-trend pieces of furniture that they happen to have. Color is huge. So my go-to color that I suggest for people is a Sherwin-Williams color. It's called Modern Gray, and it's number 7632. That the reason we use that is it's very close to this color right here. If it isn't this color, if you have beiges, if you have grays, it doesn't matter. It goes with either of those tones. This is a gray that has a beige undertone. So it goes with anything. That's probably, if you're going to be selling, if you're going to be painting and you don't know what to paint, that's a number that you want to write down. Sherwin-Williams Modern Gray, number 7632. Revere Pewter, which is a Benjamin Moore color, will also work as well. It's very close to this color. One thing I really want to say is you really want to start this process before you call your realtor. You want to get rid of clutter. Clutter is a huge issue that I see all the time. Again, the house I was at today, they want to put it up next week, and it's got probably a good week's worth of clutter to remove, if not more. So people underestimate the amount of time it's going to take them to do these projects. So really try to start these things ahead of time is what I'd like to say. Clutter is a huge issue.
So
Depersonalize.
where do they put the clutter? Where should they just pack it up, put it in the garage?
You know, I know that my realtors are okay with that. I would prefer it off-site. I would prefer it in a pod off-site. You know, if you have to store it at mom and dad's garage, I don't care. I don't want it. I don't want to see it. When you start storing it in the garage, it gives the appearance that there's just no room in the house. So I'd like it to just go away. Again, you want that appearance of, if I buy this house, I have plenty of space. I've walked into a dream home, and this gives the appearance here of, you know what, I can start entertaining tomorrow. That's what people want. I want to close on Friday. They want to move in over the weekend. They want to have when all these things are over and we can do that, they want to have friends over, have a party, and be back to their lives on Monday. That's the home you want to present. And you want to be able to have places to put things. So that's what we want to do. So storage would be wonderful. That's always my, and my first question to people when they do have things is, if you're going to, are you going to get rid of that piece? Because if you're going to get rid of it now, don't wait till you move. So it's a big question for me. If you have things that need to be patched or repaired, you need to do that now. That's a big thing that you need to do. Again, painting, patching, repairing. As John said, you know, it's always whatever issues you might have. And again, that's what John spoke to, but any kind of things that you can see that need to be fixed, because I'm sure John's going to come in and find things that you don't know that need to be fixed. So at least take care of the things that you can see. Always neat, organized, updated, neutralized. Again, the modern gray is a color that you want to go with. It's again that greige, if you will, beigey gray. Fresh and open, is you'll see as you're looking through these, all the blinds are open. The rooms feel fresh and bright and clean. That's the next one. I cannot tell you, clean like you've never cleaned before. And if you don't want to do that, then hire somebody to do it. Dust, all the windows have to be cleaned, the floors have to be cleaned, everything needs to be cleaned. And it sounds like, well, really, do you need to tell somebody that? But I need to tell them that all the time. And that's a tough thing to have to tell somebody, to, quite honestly. So it really is something that it's a deep clean absolutely everywhere, because people, they look in closets, they look in places. So it isn't, oh, I can do just the light cleaning and nobody, like where you're going to have a party and you just stash everything. It isn't like that. You have to clean absolutely everywhere.
Well, and if you do miss areas that you're not cleaning, people are going to wonder, if you didn't clean here, what else have you neglected?
Correct. And that, that's a great point. That's the reason that you wanted to show, like these pictures that I'm showing you, you wanted everything to be meticulous, because that lets people know that the home was taken care of. Because the things, when you've got screens that are ripped, or you've got peeling paint, or you've got things that are undone, or you have floors that are all scratched, or you just have dirt, then what that's telling people is that this home has not been maintained. So that's what they can see. The next thing they jump to is, what's wrong with it that I can't see? So you don't even want to put that thought into their mind. Rearrange furniture. Here's a good example on bathrooms. Bathrooms and kitchens are huge. If you can update them, you want to do that. You want them fresh, clean, bright. Here's a good example of kitchens. I tell people, this is a little sparse. We could have left maybe one other thing on here, but I tell my clients, I give them one utilitarian thing on the counter and that's it. So that knife block has to go. The blender, the juicer, all of those things, the bottles of spices and oils, all that has to go because you're selling counter space. So you're selling like this is a good example. It's a beautiful counter. You want people to see that. So those have to be cleared off. And again, that's that light, airy, neutral. Again, these are places that people forget. This is obviously a laundry room, mudroom. You want to stage it so people can understand the importance of this and how big it is as well. This is a huge space where people can actually, there's a lot of room with those cubbies where kids can put their stuff. Great for people to be able to organize. So laundry rooms are a lot of times just skipped over. That's a huge space that people are looking for. Master bath. Again, you want it clean, bright. If you can update it, update it. If you can't, at least make it feel updated. My quick update is paint, light fixtures, hardware, and stage with white towels. White towels everywhere, all your bathrooms. Oh. I'm going to stop my share right there. The other, like I said, it's cleaning and making that great first impression. Your first impression is in photos. So a lot of times I have people say, well, can we at least get it online and then I can get these things done? And my answer is no, because they're looking at it online first and they're making that judgment whether they want to come and see it online. So it has to be, if they haven't got to the cleaning part yet, meticulously, I'll let that go. But rearranging the furniture, painting, updating, all of those kind of things are extremely important before it goes online and gets in the MLS. So because those pictures are so important.
All right, Judy, but doesn't an empty house look bigger?
No, it does not. No. You always want to be able to show a home with furniture in it. So it does not. We'd like to bring furniture in if we can. It really depends on the seller. A lot of times so I will tell you that home I just showed you, they've already moved, but they were able to leave that in the house until it sells. There's a lot of ways that sellers can arrange that, if you will, to stage. That's one of my first ones. I ask them, can you leave some furniture so we can leave it staged? So you really do want furniture in the home. You want that lived in, you want that model home feeling. Basically, it doesn't matter how old your home is. Again, it doesn't matter the age of the home. You're selling a model just like a builder would. And that's why you want it staged.
And I've heard Lisa say this too, that the people want to know how they're going to live in it. So by having a
Correct.
stage, they can get that feeling.
And that's why placing furniture is so important. You have to give them what's the focal point in the room. In the family room, it might be, a fireplace like it was in that family room, but really the use of that room is to watch TV. So how are you going to make that useful and conversational? The sofa looks at the TV, but then you have a chair in the corner by the fireplace that's conversational, but also sits by the fireplace. So it's a thought process of how do I use this? How are you going to use that space? Or how is a potential buyer going to use that space? You have to give that to them. You can't hope that they understand that. That's why placement is so vitally important.
And on that, when there's a couch in the room, they can see the couch fits in here and the TV will fit in here. This room isn't too small to put those things in here. This is how it'll look. This is how it feels. So it
Correct.
gives them that frame of reference. Excellent.
And it's always good to use just on, and you know, one more quick thing, use big pieces of art, use big accessories when you're staging. Those kind of things, again, give a bigger scale to the room. You don't want to use small things that just appears as clutter. Pack those things up and just use bigger pieces.
Well, one of the things I think was most important of what you said was to call you in, to call the realtor in before they're ready to list. Not only when they're ready to list, but call in ahead of time. You know, you're gonna be listing in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Now's the time to be calling you guys in to get some ideas of what you can do to get the house prepared first.
Correct.
Waiting until you're ready to go, like you said, you know, they want to list in a week. You're gonna bust your butt for a week, then fine, if you're ready to do that. But take it easier on yourself and call the agents and the inspector and the
Becomes very stressful when they have that timeline in their head, and then we come in and hand them a list of things that, you know, if they want to get that price, if that's what they really want, then we give them that whole list of this is your reality, and now they're very stressed about that. So
excellent. I'm gonna go through a couple photography things that Angela had talked about. So tips for better photos. So these are just some great ideas, but the number one tip really should be on here is you need to call a professional.
mhm.
You need professional photos. I know we all have these cell phones and they all have cameras built into them, and they're phenomenal cameras, but as I'm about to show you, it goes well beyond just the ability of the camera and the technology in that. So take tons of photos is the first thing, and then only use the best ones. It just amazes me sometimes when I go into the MLS and I look at the photos that are posted by agents and even professional photos taken by photographers to see what's actually posted. It's fine to take bad photos. You don't post bad photos. So take tons of them, multiple angles, which is the next one. Pick an angle, take lots of different angles of it. And this particular piece is about the angle of the front image of the house. You don't stand in front of the house and take a dead-on image. You need to angle from the side and take them from different sides. Again, take lots of photos, and then you're going to be able to pick out your best one. But the best photo is very rarely one that's straight on. There could be a time when it is, depending on what's around it and so forth, but very rarely it's a straight on photo. Tidy up. You've already said it. Judy beat it up pretty good. So tidy up, pack up, move it out, clean the gutters, mow the lawn, make it ready, make it look good. You get one chance at a first impression. And as Judy said, oftentimes we know buyers are looking at these homes online first. And I would just argue, my 25 years in doing this, buyers are almost looking for a reason to not be interested in the home so they can eliminate one more and to narrow this down. When Lisa and Dana start to work with buyers and start to narrow down what's of interest to them, they can start out the list of 50 or 60 or more homes, and they need to figure out what's going to be narrowed down. So if you give them a reason to knock your home out of the contention, you won't be in contention. So that's not good for you. Pack it up, move it out, clean the gutters, mow the lawn, all that stuff. First impression is very important. Watch the weather. A lot of people think overcast days are a bad day to take photos. They're actually the best day to take photos. The worst thing is to have bright sunshine casting shadows. So just another thing the photographers look at is lighting. Speaking of lighting, balancing the lighting, accommodating for natural light, mingling with the artificial light. So we have electronic lights. They might be fluorescent. I've got LEDs in my office here. It could be an incandescent bulb. They all throw off, they all cast different types of lighting. Warm light versus cool light versus natural light. So all of that needs to be balanced because they can conflict with each other. So you want to make sure you keep glare down and things like that. But of course, as much light as possible. So opening the blinds, like Judy said, clearly want the blinds open for showings and for photos. But if there's too much sunlight coming in, you're going to need to balance that with lighting in the room to offset those things in the shadows that are cast. Shooting in raw setting. I don't know what this means. I'm not a photographer, but I know professionals use professional equipment, and there's a setting called raw where they can manually adjust the lighting to manipulate white light into warm light. So I don't know what that means exactly. I've got a concept of what that means, but a professional photographer understands that in depth, and that's why you need a professional to come in and take these pictures. And then I added a couple things here. No pictures, no people in the pictures. It just amazes me how often I'll just be on the MLS, and I don't even sell real estate. I run the Realtor Association, so I'm rarely in the MLS. I still see photos too often of people in the pictures. It could either be the occupants of the home, or it could be too often the agent who's taking pictures instead of hiring a photographer, an agent taking a picture and they catch themselves in the reflection in the mirror. Terrible. It's a bad impression, a bad image. It does cast a bad impression of your home as well. So that needs to be high on the list of no's, not to do's. And then along with that are pets. They become distracting. Even a pet in a photo, obviously is not moving in a photo, is distracting. People want to focus on the animal instead of the home. Take the pets out on the day the photographers come and take pictures. No toilets either. This is a big deal. This amazes me. People, agents, the public get freaked out by pictures of toilets. I'm not kidding. So they get grossed out if the lid is up. Not even a view into the toilet, a clean toilet, just if the lid is up, that grosses some people out. So something professionals know about. And I noticed in Judy's, as she was going through hers, there was a picture of the bathroom. It did not show the toilet. It showed the sink and the mirror and the towel bar, but not the toilet. I don't know if Anna Maria did that on purpose or not. I imagine she did because she's a professional, but you've got to be wary of toilets. And then my own personal pet peeve is make sure you're taking a picture of the actual room. Too often I see on the MLS pictures of the furniture in the room and not of the actual room. So just a couple things to think about. You need to hire, so my comment here, seriously, just hire a professional, have them come in. Your real estate agent is going to work with you. They're going to recommend the professional photographers that they use, have them come in. You need to clean the house. Judy just covered that really well. So we didn't talk about this ahead of time. We both had the same thought. You need to clean the house. They take the photos. That's the order that goes. It's worth more money in your pocket, typo. It's worth more money in your pocket at the end for you to hire an agent, to hire a photographer, to have this done right. That's my photography thing. We're getting close on time, but just a couple quick things. Virtual tours are very possible. So how has COVID affected the marketplace today? Virtual tours are a big deal. So agents, Lisa's coming in, she's going to take a virtual tour. She's going to hire a photographer to come in and do 3D or some other virtual touring of the property and be able to post that, because people are looking online regardless of COVID. They're looking online first. You need to make sure you have a good professional image of your property. People are writing offers with conditions to see the property. So they're seeing properties through the media, through the social media, through the web portals and other areas, websites, and then writing offers without having been in the property. That's going away a little bit. We saw that showing graph. Showings are coming back. But in that downturn of the showings, people were writing offers with conditions to see the property before they close on it. So it was still happening. Even now, we're still doing showings, but when you do showings, especially through today, tomorrow things change a little bit, but groups of 4 or less to see homes, that's a requirement by the state. That's part of the rules that were in the stay-at-home order. So there's a whole bunch of rules that real estate has to follow. Groups of 4 or less to go view homes, wearing masks, of course, sanitizer. Agents have tons of these items to help you out with. They're going to ask you as a seller to turn on the lights and open all the doors in the property to try to reduce the amount of touching in your home. So minimize touching anything in the house. The agent's going to have to touch your front door to unlock it, but hopefully he or she is going to then open the door, let the people come in, and they won't have to touch your door. So trying to minimize, agents are working with their clients to try to minimize what they're touching in your home. And I would say many sellers are now getting over the initial fear and panic that existed, and I would classify it as fear and panic of people coming into their homes. So as we saw, showings are coming back up, sellers are allowing people back into their homes, and more listings are coming on the market. 7 things on why you need an agent. Lisa, do you want to cover these or you want me to cover them?
You can cover them, Jim.
All right.
You have it up there.
7 points on why you need an agent. Safety is your #1 priority. You as a seller don't have the time, don't have really the ability for most of you to screen clients to make sure that they're really interested in buying property and not stealing from your home. The #1 item stolen from homes, drum roll. It's not cash, it's not jewelry, it is medications.
Medication.
People come in, they want to use your bathroom or go through your kitchen. Agents are good at keeping this together. They are very much aware of how to manage the situation, how to keep people together, and how to help protect your property. So you need an agent, a seller agent, and of course buyer agents in order to help do this. Showing the property during work hours. We are finding, real estate agents are finding that More and more clients are looking to see property during the workday. They want to come over on their lunchtime or on their break time. It's no longer an evening or a weekend business. It's throughout all day long. And most sellers, especially those that are not working from home, are not able to accommodate showings during the day. You need to have agents representing you and helping you with that. A powerful online strategy is a must to attract a buyer. We've just said it over and over and over. Online is the way to go. People are going online and looking first. You need to have your home available through online media, including the MLS, including Realtor.com, which is only Realtor. So you need to have a Realtor help you with this. Sellers are too close to transaction to negotiate well. So some people might want to sell their home on their own, think they are expert negotiators, that they're better than an agent. That's what they do. The problem with that is that you're also emotionally attached to the transaction, where an agent is less emotionally attached to it. They want to help you and get you the best, but they're not emotionally attached. So think about this. You've got more than just the negotiating of the price. You've got first that buyer negotiation. It's not just the price, it's things that come with it. It's the closing costs they may want to have. We talked about last night on that call. It's items of interest. They may want some furniture of yours or the lawn tractor or something like that. There's lots of negotiations that go on. There's also closing dates that can be negotiated. Lots of elements. Then after that, you still have negotiations with the agent and attorney negotiations. The attorneys are now going to want to negotiate the contract a little tiny bit in different things. You need to have a third party there who is unemotional, not attached to the transaction, to be able to do this in a business and professional manner. Beyond that, sorry, John, sometimes there's inspection negotiations. I know I'm not throwing you under the bus, but as John does his work, there's going to be a list of things. That list can be 10 things long, it can be 30 things long, it could be 50 things long. The buyer may want to have you as the seller do some work to your home or accommodate some things. That's another form of negotiation you need an agent to help you with. And then what if the appraisal comes in, the appraisal is too low? That again is a form of negotiation that needs to be worked out. You need to have someone in your corner working for you to take care of that. Number 5, as a seller, it's also almost impossible to be involved in the mortgage process of the buyer. You can't, as a seller, work with the buyer and help them and know things about the buyer, where a listing agent can be involved, can follow up with the loan officer, and can ensure that the buyer is getting properly approved and that mortgage process is moving forward. You need someone to help with that, because that's often where this deal falls apart, is the mortgage approval process. You need to have that assistance. The legal obligations and government regulation expertise, it's gotten more and more complicated. We used to have mold disclosure. Now we no longer have a mold disclosure. I mean, agents are professionals. They need to know, they keep up on what forms are needed, and you need to have an agent help you with that to make sure you get the proper forms filled out. When do you need radon? When do you need lead-based paint? They know all those things. You need someone there to make sure you are legally protected. And not that they're an attorney, they're not. They just know which forms to use, by the way. Little disclaimer. Studies prove that sellers net more money when an agent is involved. That sounds ridiculous, but it's a fact. Sellers net more money when an agent is involved, even after paying realtor commissions and other commission fees, because agents can help negotiate a better price for your home. And often when the listing comes on by a for sale by owner, they have already discounted the price a little bit to get competitive in the marketplace. But then the buyer comes in seeing it's for sale by owner and they want a better deal, and they get you down even further. If you'd been listed with an agent could have had it at a higher price probably up front and help you stay firm to that price. The very beginning of this call tonight, we talked about that price, the original list price to sale price, 96%. An agent can help keep you there. For sale by owners are close to 90%. So you're giving up that commission and doing all the work yourself when you could have netted more money and not had to do the work. So that, Lisa, what do you have to add to that conversation? Anything I missed there?
Well, Jim, what about realtor fees, commissions?
Absolutely. So what do you guys charge fees? Can you talk about that?
Well, I can tell you that we don't have a set fee. It's actually illegal to say, oh, this agency charges this. It's typically up to each individual realtor, and that should really be a private conversation between the seller and that agent. We don't go around, we don't kiss and tell, so to speak. We don't go around and say, oh, I charge this and I charge this and this one charges that. It's really a private conversation between the two parties, because there could be some variables
So each
in there.
brokerage firm sets their own commission rate. Agents may or may not have some ability to fluctuate that a little tiny bit, but it's all negotiable. Is that what I'm hearing?
It is negotiable, correct.
Excellent. And John, there was a Facebook question online, and it was about, so do you check for code, and what does a seller have to do to meet code? What about smoke detectors, fire alarms, carbon monoxide?
Oh, as far as code, no, we're not a code inspection. No home inspection is typically a code inspection per se. A 1970s house will not fit today's code. Actually, a 2016 house won't fit today's code. It's older. Codes change daily. We drive through 15 code districts to get to your house to inspect. Each code district is different and apply different codes at different times. Crystal Lake has not allowed Romex for as long as I can remember. Other areas allow it, other areas don't. It just depends on where you're at. As far as smoke detectors, they should be replaced every 10 years. You should have a carbon monoxide every level, but definitely within 15 feet of your bedrooms. That's just basic stuff that should be there and ready.
Excellent, thank you. I think we've answered everybody's questions that have come in. Is there anything you guys want to say as final words before we wrap up? I do have on the screen here your contact info, so I hope everybody is able to grab that. Obviously, call these experts. They've been doing this a long time. We won't go through how long, because none of us are old enough to be in the business as long as we have been. All right, well, thank you, John, Judy, Lisa. I appreciate you guys taking time. Thank you to the audience for attending. I know we had a bunch of people on Facebook and a few people here on Zoom, so thank you very much. We have recorded this, and this will be on Facebook Live.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for
Thank you,
having
guys.
us.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.